Hi, today America's Crossroads is in Anna Maria Island, Florida, and we're meeting with Butch Thompson,
Hi.
piano player.
Nice
You
to
might
meet
have
you.
heard Butch Thompson on the Prairie Home Companion show over the years, but more important, I've known Butch since we were both little, and playing at the Hall Brothers Jazz Club in Mendota. He was with the Hall Brothers. I had my band up there, but we had more fun there and at the Goldenrod Showboat in St. Louis. What do you think?
Oh, it was a blast, yeah. Those were the days. I wish I could remember them better.
Well, we were busy.
Yes, we were. Yeah, we were very busy. Yeah, those were. The first time I went to that St. Louis Ragtime Festival on the boat. It was the Joplin Centennial, or so they thought at the time. Turns out that wasn't correct. It was born a year earlier than they thought. But it was a big deal, and lots of piano players were there, including U.B. Blake.
Yes, I remember that.
It was incredible.
And U.B. Blake played up at the Emporium of Jazz in Mendota.
Later on, yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know much about him when I saw him, but he sat down and played Charleston Rag and just killed.
What does that go like?
I forget.
And he also played it in like,
Yeah. He
the
played-
funny keys.
Yeah, and he was something to see, I must say.
I took a picture of U.B. Blake. In fact, in this interview, I could put the picture up on the screen.
You might as well.
A close-up of his hands.
Yeah, they're huge.
His fingers were twice as long as yours.
Yeah. I never saw fingers like that in my
Oh,
life.
man.
He could sit back this far. He had to, because his
Yeah.
fingers were so long. Yeah.
He was something else.
He played at the Emporium of Jazz as well in Mendota, Minnesota, where
Yeah.
Hall Brothers played. And Charlie DeVore drove him back to his hotel. Charlie was a trumpet player in the Hall Brothers band. Charlie drove UB back to his hotel, and UB said, "Well, come on in, sit down and talk to me for a while." And they were up all night. And I think UB used to stay up all night a lot.
Yeah, he had a lot of
Charlie-
energy.
Yeah. Charlie said he was getting pretty tired, but it was fascinating because UB talked and talked and talked. I said, "What did he say?" He said, "I'm not sure anymore."
Yeah.
But it was fascinating.
It was about 3 weeks after the Mendota job.
Yeah.
I was walking down Park Avenue in New York City, and here comes, out of a building, here comes U.B. Blake. And it was like old home week.
Yeah.
You know, he
He
remembered everything.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah.
was
He was sharp. And in
Yeah.
fact, Mary and I were invited to his memorial service after he died. He was 100 years and 5 days. So
that's-
he made it to the finish line, which is a good thing.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, over the many years, I've had a chance to meet a lot of wonderful musicians. You're one of them, but I'm talking about older people than you.
Well, they've met you too.
Oh,
So I heard people saying, I met Butch Thompson.
yeah.
And,
So,
you
well,
know.
you can live that down, but
Well, you have a real nice style on the piano.
I can play things that don't have too many notes in them, but I have trouble talking while I'm doing it.
Well, that's good. I'll talk, you play. This sounds like the Jelly interviews.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. I'll see if I can say anything. I'll never forget when I met U.B. Blake.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe my eyes, couldn't believe my ears.
Wow. Tell me about Aaron Harris.
He's a bad man.
Bad,
I know
bad
that
man.
about him, yeah. Keillor Morton taught, Aaron Harris was one of the people. Actually, I think it's probably almost true that Keillor Morton left town because of Aaron Harris.
He was
Yeah.
probably a striking figure.
Yes, striking is the right word. He was known to be able to get away with murder, literally, according to Keillor Morton's version of it. And one night, Jelly was a pool shark as well.
Yes.
And he used to go into these places and pretend he couldn't shoot until somebody was suckered in, and then he'd clean them out.
Yeah.
And he didn't know who this person was when he played him. He took all his money, and then somebody said, "Do you know who that was?" That was Aaron Harris. So he said, I thought I better get out of town. So that's when I left New Orleans for good.
Yeah.
I believe him.
Oh, yeah. If you have a chance, you can scour the internet and buy the Jelly Roll Morton Library of Congress interviews. They're fascinating.
I'll say one of the stories, and then he made up some song I think he did on the spur of the moment about Aaron Harris. This is blues.
Yeah.
The lyrics were Aaron Harris, he was a bad, bad man. Aaron Harris, he was a bad, bad man. He was the baddest man that ever was in this town. That was about all there was to it.
That's it.
Yeah, so you don't have to sing that.
It's like I got the blues. I got the blues.
Yep.
I still got the blues.
That's exactly. But it was really nice. It played nice little things.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got hooked up with the Prairie Home Companion for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're a great talent. Number two, it's right in your backyard.
Yeah, Garrison Keillor was, he was in radio for some time before he started doing that show. And I was at one of the earliest shows I was there as a guest. I think it was show number 2. Missed the first one. And the audience had something like 6 or 7 people. And that was it. And it was quite informal. You didn't know what you were going to do until you got there. You could come in at the last minute, which most of the musicians did.
Yeah.
And he would just casually invite people as he ran into you in the street or something. He'd say, oh, you got the show, why don't you come down? Well, what time? Well, it starts at 5 o'clock. A little before 5, it's fine. And you get there and nobody knew what any plans were. Nobody timed anything. Garrison didn't know how it was going to work. I can remember walking into the show late. I had permission to do that. He'd say, well, can you come to the show this weekend? I said, well, I can't really get there until 5:30 or something. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, that's okay, whenever you can show up.
Sounds like my show.
Yeah. It didn't say that way very long.
Yeah.
Not at all, but that was kind of fun. There was something about that that I kind of miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started with him, what year was it?
That was 74.
74, okay.
But
So
show number 2.
so you're still doing things from time to time?
And with him, yeah. For
Yeah.
a while we were the house band. I had the trio with
Right.
Red Manico was a
Oh, I know Red, he was a character.
yeah, he was a comedian as well as a drummer, and sometimes he wasn't sure which, but he could throw the sticks in the air, but he'd pretend that he missed the catch, and then he'd keep playing. He'd make a face and bounce a stick on the ground. It was crazy,
Oh, yeah.
He'd do all this on the radio when nobody could see him.
Yeah.
But it was okay. And Bill Evans was the bass player. He was working with us in the Hall Brothers Jazz Band, which did we already mention the Hall Brothers? I think you said
Well,
something.
the Hall Brothers played at the Emporium. And,
Mendota, Minnesota. Mendota's a jazz town for going way back, actually, into the 30s, early 30s, even before, I don't know exactly, but lots of well-known musicians used to come through there and play at a club called Mitch's in the 30s. Jack Teagarden and Joe Sullivan, and I remember the piano players, many others. And Doc Evans, who was a Minnesotan, had the band there for a long time. And they'd play with these guys. They'd come and sit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
An interesting little piece of America.
Right there. It was out of town. It was an out of town place. You could drive a long way from town, and the liquor laws were different. And the Emporium of Jazz, where we had our own club later on, was run by Doc Evans for, I think, close to 3 years before they just couldn't keep it up anymore. And some benefactors showed up who wanted to put the Hall Brothers in there. There were a number of people who contributed, but Dave Odell was a guy, he gave up his dental practice. Do you remember Dave?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
He gave up his dental practice. He said, I want to do this. Let's get this place and make a jazz club out of it for the Hall Brothers. And so we all kind of pitched in. I got drafted, so I didn't do much of the original work. I was gone, but and the club opened. And it stayed open for 25 years.
Yeah.
Traditional jazz.
That's a pretty good run for a jazz club.
Not bad, yeah.
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 Well, they were smart also because they opened on weekends.
Right.
And they didn't lose money on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, it just wasn't open. Yeah. Yeah, it had a long run.
Well, so have you, Butch, and the music lingers on, so play us out here a little bit. Give us the Happy Blues.
Happy Blues?
So you never know where America's Crossroads is going to end up. And then you have to come down to Anna Maria Island to sit down with Butch Thompson from Minnesota. So next time in Minnesota, we'll sit down with somebody from Florida. Thanks, Butch.
Thank you.
Really great. Good seeing you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Bye.